What are you doing? Enjoy your coffee, counselor.
The cafe was crowded, but Jordan Matthews barely noticed the chatter or the hiss of the espresso machine. He only noticed the whispering eyes tracking him as he stepped up to the counter, polished leather briefcase in hand, tailored navy suit pressed to perfection. The barista, a young man with tight lips and a casual arrogance, didn't greet him. Instead, he smirked, a slow curl of disdain that made Jordan's chest tighten. "Can I help you?" Jordan asked, voice calm but clipped. The barista's hand trembled. Whether from nerves or intention, Jordan couldn't tell. And then, without warning, the hot coffee splashed across his crisp white shirt. The liquid hissed as it soaked through the fabric, burning his skin just enough to shock him. I said, "Watch yourself." Jordan snapped, his voice rising over the cafe murmurs. But the barista laughed, a cool, light, public mockery. "Maybe next time, try not looking like trouble." Gasps erupted. Phones hovered. Eyes turned from Jordan's skin to his expensive suit, as if guilt had it color. Jordan's throat tightened. This wasn't a coffee spill. It was a statement. He wanted to call security, demand an apology, but before he could move, the cafe manager appeared, clipboard in hand, eyes flicking between Jordan and the barista. The manager's mouth curved in a polite, hollow smile. "Sir, I think it's best if you leave now." Jordan froze, disbelief cracking through him. Leave? After this humiliation? And then, as he turned toward the exit, the barista's smirk deepened. "Don't let it happen again." Jordan's phone buzzed, a notification from work. Something about an emergency meeting. Something about him. The door swung shut behind him. Jordan Matthews stepped into Bean and Brew, the Midtown cafe buzzing with chatter and the low hum of grinding espresso machines. His polished black shoes clicked against the terrazzo floor, a sharp contrast to the muffled, chaotic ambience. People glanced up as he approached the counter, but it wasn't admiration in their eyes. It was that careful, measured gaze, like they were sizing him up, questioning if he belonged here. "Good morning," he said, projecting calm authority. His tailored navy suit made him feel untouchable, until he noticed a barista, a young man with a sharp jaw and narrowed eyes, smirk in place, deliberately ignoring his greeting. "Can I help you?" Jordan asked, his tone controlled but firm. The barista tilted his head, smirk curling wider. "Yeah. Coffee, right?" Jordan felt his stomach tighten. Something in the man's posture, the almost imperceptible eye roll, screamed disrespect. He opened his briefcase and reached for his wallet. Before he could hand over his card, a splash of scalding coffee hit his chest. White fabric became streaked with brown. The hiss of heat against skin made Jordan jerk back. "Watch yourself," he snapped, voice rising, ignoring the stares. The barista laughed. "Light, cruel, public. Maybe next time, try not looking like trouble." Whispers erupted. Phones raised. Eyes darted between Jordan's dark skin and the ruined suit. Jordan's jaw tightened. This wasn't a coffee spill. It was a message. "Get me your manager," he demanded. The manager appeared, clipboard in hand, eyes scanning Jordan with polite but detached expression. "Sir, I think it's best if you leave now." Jordan froze, disbelief cracking through him. "Leave? After humiliation? Are you kidding me?" he asked. "I'm the customer. You can't just—" "Sir, I'm sorry," the manager interrupted, tone smooth, final. "It's for the best." Jordan's chest tightened. Public humiliation, silence from bystanders, and the manager's passive complicity, it all weighed on him. He turned toward the door, skin still stinging, mind spinning. His phone buzzed. A notification from work. Emergency meeting. CEO attendance required. Immediate. He stepped outside. The cold air hit his face, a brief relief. But something in his gut told him this was only the beginning. Behind him, the barista's smirk deepened. "Don't let it happen again," he said, loud enough for the street to hear. Jordan's hand shook as he unlocked his car. He couldn't predict the chaos waiting at the office. The humiliation of the cafe was public. The betrayal at work would be private, but no less devastating. And just like that, in less than 10 minutes, Jordan Matthews felt the ground shift beneath him. Jordan Matthews parked outside Skyline Tech's glass-fronted headquarters, the city reflected in its sleek windows. He gripped the steering wheel for a moment, forcing himself to breathe. The cafe incident still burned across his chest and in his mind, but now he had a new battle, a corporate one. Inside, the lobby buzzed with the usual morning energy. The whispers followed him. He nodded curtly to the receptionist, who avoided his gaze. "Mr. Matthews, the board is waiting. Conference room B," she said, voice tight. Jordan strode in, posture perfect, but his stomach knotted. The board members were already seated. 6 middle-aged executives in crisp suits, faces neutral but eyes sharp with expectation. Only Catherine Monroe, Chief Operating Officer, offered a faint smile. "Jordan," she said, "glad you could join us." "Seems urgent," Jordan replied, voice measured. Monroe gestured to the head of the table. Howard Lyles, chairman, leaned forward, fingers steepled. "We've received concerning reports about your behavior this morning." Jordan blinked. "Concerning reports?" "Yes," Lyles said, voice calm, almost clinical. "Apparently, an incident at Bean and Brew has prompted media attention." Jordan's eyes narrowed. "Media attention? Are you seriously framing a barista throwing coffee on me as my problem?" Lyles shifted, unreadable. "The optics are complicated. Employees, stakeholders, they're concerned about the company image." Jordan ran a hand through his hair, tension spiking. "I walked into a cafe, got assaulted, and you're worried about optics." A murmur rippled around the table. One board member, Greg Sanders, cleared his throat. "Jordan, with respect, some staff are questioning the way you reacted. Some felt you escalated the situation publicly." Jordan's chest tightened. "Escalated? I got coffee thrown on me and was told to leave. I didn't escalate. You're calling me the problem for defending myself." Silence. Then Monroe spoke softly, almost soothing. "We understand your position, but from a leadership perspective, the board has to consider all angles: public perception, internal morale." "Internal morale." Jordan's laugh was bitter. "Let me guess, because my skin is darker than yours, suddenly I'm a threat to morale." The room froze. Lyles' expression didn't change, but Jordan sensed the tight-lipped tension, the subtle shift in the room's energy. He realized they were weighing him against their comfort, not facts. "Jordan," Lyles said finally, voice clipped, "this isn't personal. But until we review the situation, we're placing you on administrative leave effective immediately." Jordan's stomach dropped. "You're firing me?" "Just like that." "Not firing," Lyles corrected, still calm. "Administrative leave. Pending review." "Pending review." Jordan's voice rose. "I'm the CEO. How is my leadership under review because a barista acted like a child? And you, the board, don't defend me." Greg Sanders shifted nervously. "It's complicated. Jordan." Jordan slammed his palm on the table, startling everyone. "Complicated? It's blatant. This is about race. You're trying to erase me in front of everyone because you can't face your own biases." A tense silence fell. Monroe's fingers tapped against the table. "We want to support you, but the company has procedures." "Procedures?" Jordan shot back. "Let me spell it out. Procedures are meaningless if they protect prejudice over truth." His words hung in the air, sharp as glass. Lyles exhaled slowly. "We've made our decision. You'll receive details in writing by the end of the day." Jordan stared at the board, a mix of fury and disbelief coursing through him. His own company, the empire he built from scratch, had turned against him in 10 minutes, just as the cafe incident had foreshadowed. He left the room, head high but fists clenched, every step echoing down the polished corridor. Whispers followed him, phones subtly raised. Colleagues averted their eyes. The microaggressions that had always existed now tasted like venom, sharp and undeniable. At his office, his assistant, Tina Harris, met him. Her face was pale. "They've placed you on leave. HR is drafting the paperwork now," she said softly. Jordan ran a hand across his face. "This is insane. I've spent 15 years building this company, and in 10 minutes, they decide I'm dispensable. It's more than insane, Tina said, eyes full of sympathy. It's strategic. Some of the board members never liked you. They've been waiting for a reason. Jordan stared out the window, city lights stretching below him. Betrayal wasn't a sudden thunderclap. It was his quiet, methodical erosion of power. And now, just like the coffee at Bean and Brew, it was personal. His phone buzzed. Another alert. Breaking news. CEO of Skyline Tech embroiled in cafe incident. Public comments expected. Jordan exhaled sharply. The public humiliation had begun. The corporate betrayal was unfolding. And he was still in the storm's eye, trapped between injustice and survival, with nowhere to hide. Jordan Matthews sat in his sleek corner office, now empty of the authority that usually defined the space. The leather chair felt hollow, like it mocked him. His phone buzzed incessantly, news alerts, social media notifications, text messages from friends, colleagues, even strangers. Each ping was a reminder. The cafe incident had gone viral. He scrolled through the feeds. Headlines screamed, CEO in cafe altercation. Was he provoked? Barista versus CEO, who's at fault? Comments ranged from supportive to venomous. One thread accused him of overreacting. Another questioned whether he even belonged in the corporate world. Tina Harris, his assistant, hovered nearby, holding a tablet. Jordan, you need to see this. The story's picked up by national outlets now. CNN, Tech Insider, even some local stations. Jordan rubbed his temples. This isn't about the coffee. It's about everything. The bias, the assumptions, the way the system protects the aggressor and punishes the victim. Tina nodded. Exactly. But the public doesn't always see nuance. They see a dark-skinned CEO and a white barista. Some people are framing it like you started the fight. Jordan's jaw tightened. Started the fight? I got assaulted in broad daylight, and now I'm the one under scrutiny. His phone buzzed again. A message from his longtime friend and mentor, Marcus Reynolds, popped up. Ignore the noise. Focus on your next move. You know the law. You know the truth. Jordan exhaled. Marcus was right. But the weight of being publicly shamed, professionally undermined, and racially stereotyped all at once, it was suffocating. The office door opened abruptly. Carla Simmons, a reporter for a prominent tech magazine, stepped in. Mr. Matthews, I know you're on leave, but I need a comment. People are already twisting the story. Your side hasn't been heard. Jordan looked up, eyes sharp. And you think my statement will fix what's happening? It can help, she said softly, notebook poised. You have to control the narrative, or the narrative controls you. He leaned back, anger simmering beneath his calm exterior. They'll twist it anyway. I've seen how easily truth bends when people want to protect their comfort. Carla hesitated. Then tell me what actually happened. Jordan recounted the cafe incident, every detail sharp, every injustice vivid. The coffee, the barista smirk, the manager's dismissive words. He spoke slowly, letting his voice carry the weight of disbelief and hurt. And yet, he concluded, here I am, treated as if I were the problem. Because the system, the world, assumes people like me are volatile, unprofessional, undeserving. And now my company, my board, they are complicit. Carla's pen froze. You're being very clear, very human. People will connect to that. A ping. Another alert. This time, an anonymous email. Careful, Jordan. Things are bigger than a spilled coffee. Some people want you gone, permanently. Watch your back. Jordan's hand trembled slightly as he set the phone down. He hadn't even imagined the storm could be personal. Corporate politics had found a new layer. Threats, intimidation, a web of calculated betrayal. Tina broke the silence. You need a plan. Press statement, legal counsel, maybe even social media address. We can't let this spiral unchecked. Jordan nodded slowly, mind racing. We'll do it right. We'll make them accountable. But I won't lie or bend for optics. I can't. His thoughts drifted to the barista, the cafe manager, and the bystanders who did nothing. How many of them would speak up if roles were reversed? How many would stay silent, comforted by the illusion of fairness? The phone rang. It was Howard Lyles, the board chairman. "Jordan, I hope you're aware of the fallout," Lyles said, voice polished. "The media storm is intense. Your leave might need to be extended." Jordan's fingers clenched around the receiver. "You don't get it. This isn't just media attention. It's about injustice, about how systems work to protect the guilty and punish the innocent. And you're barred. You're part of it." There was a pause on the line. Then Lyles said, carefully neutral, "We'll review all facts. For now, keep your statements minimal. This could reflect poorly if handled improperly." Jordan's jaw tightened. "Handled improperly? I'm the victim of harassment and assault, and you lecture me about optics." Click. The line went dead. He dropped the phone onto his desk. The world had already judged him. The public and private scrutiny felt like a vice. And yet, in the storm of notifications, emails, and headlines, a sliver of resolve emerged. He turned to Tina. "Get Marcus on the line. We're going public tomorrow. Full transparency. Every fact, every injustice. Let the world see the truth, even if it costs me personally." Tina nodded. "I'll set it up. You will have support. You're not alone in this." Jordan looked out the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city lights flickering like distant warnings. The café humiliation, the board betrayal, the threats, it was all converging. He clenched his fists, voice low but firm. "Let them try to break me. They'll see I won't disappear quietly. Not now. Not ever." Outside, the city continued its indifferent hum. But inside Jordan Matthews, a fire had ignited, a determination forged in public scorn, betrayal, and the raw sting of racial injustice. And the storm had only just begun. Jordan Matthews walked through the office corridors with a calm he didn't feel. Whispers followed him, desks emptying slightly as employees ducked behind monitors, pretending to type. He could feel the judgment, the quiet calculations, some assessing his fate, others silently cheering it. Tina Harris caught up with him. "We've identified who's supportive and who's not. You'll want to know." Jordan's lips pressed into a thin line. "Then start talking." Alicia Grant in PR, solid ally. Marcus Reynolds will coordinate media. And some board members, mostly quiet, but sympathetic once you lay out the facts, Tina said. Jordan nodded. "And the others?" Tina hesitated. "Some will obstruct. Greg Sanders is playing neutral publicly, but privately he's siding with Lyles. He's worried about optics, not fairness." Jordan's jaw tightened. Of course. Corporate loyalty disguised as principle. Their first stop was a conference room. Alicia Grant was waiting, laptop open, eyes sharp. "Jordan," she said, voice low but firm, "the board want to spin this as a PR hiccup. But the media will see right through it if we don't control the narrative." "I'm not here to control narratives. I'm here to tell the truth," Jordan said. "That barista humiliated me. The manager enabled it. And my board failed to defend me because they can't face their biases." Alicia's expression hardened. "Exactly. But truth without strategy gets buried. You want justice. You need to be smarter than them." Jordan leaned against the table, tension in his shoulders. "I didn't realize allies were so hard to find in my own company." Alicia smiled faintly. "They're there. You just have to navigate the snakes." Later, Jordan met with Marcus Reynolds, who paced the office, phone in hand. "You need to anticipate every move. Social media, corporate PR, potential leaks, legal threats. They'll throw everything at you to undermine your credibility." Jordan exhaled sharply. "I expected resistance, not a conspiracy." Marcus gave a wry half-smile. "It's systemic, Jordan. People think protecting the guilty is safer than confronting injustice. But it's not just the board. They'll test everyone around you, try to isolate you." Jordan's phone buzzed again. Another anonymous message. "Careful. They are watching. Even friends might betray you." He frowned. "Even allies might fold under pressure." Marcus's tone was steady. "Exactly. That's why you build layers of trust. Alicia, me, Tina, keep them close. Document everything. Don't leave anything to chance." Jordan's thoughts drifted to the boardroom moments ago. The subtle smirks, the clipped phrases, the weight of unspoken bias. It was relentless. Corporate politics disguised as procedure, veiled threats passed off as professionalism. He met with his legal counsel, Elaine Rivera, who leaned over the contract she'd drafted. Jordan, you need documentation, witnesses, any email chains, memos, anything showing bias or mishandling. The more concrete, the stronger your case. I know, Jordan said, frustration bubbling. But it's exhausting. I'm fighting a war on 3 fronts: public humiliation, corporate betrayal, and the weight of systemic racism. Elaine nodded. That's why you're documenting, building allies, and staying disciplined. Emotionally, it's heavy, but legally, it's manageable if you stay meticulous. Jordan leaned back, the weight of the day pressing down. It feels like the board has rewritten the rules. They are trying to erase me from the company I built. They won't succeed, Alicia said, her voice firm as she entered the room. You have the truth, the documentation, and support. Don't let their passive aggression convince you otherwise. Jordan exhaled, tension softening slightly. Fine, but I won't compromise integrity for optics. If they want to fight, they'll get the real thing. Alicia smirked. Good. That's why you're the CEO, even on leave. But as they strategized, the office phone rang again. Tina answered, then turned toward Jordan, her face pale. It's a barista, she said. He's asking to speak with you, privately. Jordan froze. He wants to apologize. Tina shook her head. No. He says he has information about the board, the company, something bigger. He claims he wasn't acting alone. Jordan's stomach twisted. The storm was far from over. The public humiliation, the board's betrayal, even the cafe incident itself, it had been only the opening act. He glanced at Alicia and Marcus, eyes sharp. We're not just fighting for me. We're fighting for truth. And if this barista is telling the truth, then the whole system is complicit. The city beyond the office windows glimmered innocently, unaware of the quiet, calculated war unfolding inside a corner office. Jordan Matthews clenched his fists. Allies were essential, enemies were everywhere, and every word, every step, could tip the balance. The fight had escalated, and there would be no turning back. Jordan Matthews sat across from Elaine Rivera, his attorney, in a small, quiet conference room. The city's hum outside the window felt distant, irrelevant. Hey, only the law and strategy mattered. Jordan, Elaine began, spreading out documents. We need to approach this on multiple fronts: civil action, potential media statements, and documenting corporate negligence. Everything must be airtight. Any gap could be used against you. Jordan rubbed his forehead. I know, but it's not just about winning in court. It's about exposing the pattern, the bias, the complicity. This board and that cafe, it's systemic. Elaine nodded. Exactly. That's why we need details, emails, witness statements, any evidence of microaggressions or attempts to intimidate you. Even subtle things count. They reveal intent. Jordan exhaled. I never imagined I'd be fighting my own company like this. I built Skyline Tech from nothing, and now, his voice faltered. Now it feels like the very system I created is trying to erase me. Elaine leaned forward. Jordan, that's exactly why documentation is critical. And don't underestimate the emotional toll. You'll be tested, publicly and privately. Stay focused on facts, not anger. Later, he met with Alicia Grant and Marcus Reynolds. They mapped out a media strategy, balancing transparency with legal caution. The public narrative is critical, Alicia said, typing rapidly. If we control the story, we protect your credibility and expose the board's failures. But everything must be factually verifiable. Jordan nodded. No lies, no embellishment. I've already lost credibility in some eyes. I won't give them more ammunition. Marcus frowned. You also need to be ready for pushback. Anonymous threats, character attacks, leaks. The higher you climb, the harder they'll hit. Jordan's stomach twisted. I understand. I'm ready to face it, but emotionally, it's exhausting. Every day, I wake up feeling like I'm defending not just myself, but my right to exist in this world without being vilified. Alicia placed a hand on his shoulder. You're not alone. You have allies, and you will be heard. That night, Jordan couldn't sleep. The cafe incident replayed in his mind. The smirk, the manager's passive complicity, the barista's laughter. Then the boardroom, the whispers, the veiled accusations. He felt cornered, humiliated, enraged, but also resolute. The next morning, Jordan and Elaine met with a civil rights advocate, Dr. Naomi Fields. She listened carefully, nodding. This is a classic pattern, Dr. Fields said. Microaggressions, public humiliation, corporate silence, all combine to isolate you. The system is designed to protect the aggressors and discredit the victims. Jordan's hands clenched. So what do we do? How do we fight a system that's already rigged against me? Dr. Fields leaned in. Expose it. Publicly, legally, emotionally. Document every interaction, every email, every subtle act of discrimination. You're not just fighting for yourself. You're setting a precedent. Jordan nodded slowly. Then we do it. I'll take every step necessary. But it won't be easy. I'll pay a personal cost. Elaine interjected. There will be strain. Friends, colleagues, even family might question your choices. But strategically, this is the moment. If we falter now, the system wins. Over the next week, Jordan compiled emails, HR memos, and witness statements. Every conversation in the boardroom, every email from executives, every whispered comment became evidence of systemic bias and calculated betrayal. One afternoon, he confronted Greg Sanders, who had previously sided with Lyles privately. Greg, Jordan said, voice measured but icy. You've seen what's happening. You know the bias, the unfair treatment. Are you willing to testify truthfully? Greg shifted, gaze flicking away. Jordan, I don't know. There's a lot at stake. The board is corrupt. I need the truth. Jordan interrupted, voice rising. Not excuses. Not self-preservation. Truth. Greg hesitated, then nodded slowly. All right, I'll cooperate. But be careful. Some people don't forgive. Jordan exhaled. I don't need forgiveness. I need justice. Later, he and Elaine prepared the lawsuit. Every paragraph was meticulously written, every accusation backed with evidence. Jordan read aloud. The company, through its board and executives, engaged in discriminatory practices and retaliatory actions designed to marginalize and publicly humiliate the plaintiff, CEO Jordan Matthews, on the basis of race. He paused, emotion rising. Every word is true, he said quietly. Every detail is reality. Elaine placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. And soon, the world will see it too. But even as a lawsuit was filed, Jordan felt the cost. Nights were restless, meals forgotten, conversations strained. Social media attacks and anonymous threats escalated. The storm he'd anticipated was now a relentless hurricane. In a quiet moment, he spoke to Marcus. I feel like I'm losing parts of myself. Sleep, peace, trust. But I can't stop. If I do, the injustice wins. Marcus's voice was steady. That's the cost of standing up. But the world needs people like you, Jordan. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. Jordan closed his eyes, letting the words settle. Courage, action, truth. He had been humiliated, betrayed, and threatened. But he was still here, and he would continue. Outside, the city moved on, indifferent and bustling. Inside, Jordan Matthews was waging a battle against corruption, bias, and betrayal, one conversation, one document, one act of resilience at a time. The fight was far from over. But for the first time in days, Jordan felt a flicker of control. He would not disappear quietly. The cameras were already waiting when Jordan Matthews stepped into the studio. Bright lights cut through the darkness, hot and unforgiving. The makeup artist avoided his eyes, brushing powder across his cheek with quick, nervous strokes. Outside the glass, producers whispered urgently, adjusting angles, chasing the perfect image of calm authority under pressure. Jordan adjusted his cufflinks. His hands were steady now, not because the fear was gone, but because he'd learned to carry it. 30 seconds, the producer said. Marcus Reynolds leaned close. Stick to facts. Don't let them bait you. You're not angry. You're clear. Jordan nodded. I've been angry my whole life. Today, I'm honest. The red light blinked on. Mr. Matthews, the anchor began, voice smooth, sympathetic but cautious. The nation has watched this story unfold. A cafe incident. Your suspension. A lawsuit. Some say this is about race. Others say it's about professionalism. What do you say? Jordan looked directly into the camera. I say it's about accountability, he said. I was publicly humiliated, blamed for my own mistreatment, and then sidelined by the very company I built. Not because I did something wrong, but because silence was more comfortable than justice. The anchor hesitated. Are you accusing your board of racism? I'm accusing them of enabling it, Jordan replied calmly. Racism doesn't always shout. Sometimes it smiles, says optics, and quietly removes you from a room. The clip went viral within minutes. Across the city, Bean and Brew locked its doors early. Inside the cafe, the manager, Paul Whitaker, paced behind the counter, sweat darkening his collar. His phone buzzed nonstop. They're asking for statements, a barista whispered. News crews are outside. Paul snapped. I said it was an accident. But there's footage, another employee said quietly, and witnesses. The door rattled as reporters knocked. At Skyline Tech headquarters, the boardroom was in chaos. This is spiraling, Greg Sanders said, loosening his tie. Shareholders are furious. Howard Lyle slammed a folder onto the table. He went public. He made this personal. You made it personal when you suspended him without due process, Catherine Monroe shot back. We ignored legal counsel. We ignored ethics. Howard glared. This company cannot survive this level of scrutiny. Greg's voice shook. Actually, it might not survive us. An email alert chimed. Internal documents leaked to the press. Silence swallowed the room. Meanwhile, Jordan sat with Elaine Rivera, watching the news replay his interview. They're unraveling, Elaine said. The cafe released a statement. It contradicts the manager's version. And the barista? He lawyered up. Jordan leaned back slowly. He wasn't alone. Elaine nodded. No. And now the public sees a pattern. His phone rang. Unknown number. Jordan answered. This is Jordan Matthews. A shaky voice responded. It's me. The barista. Ethan. Jordan closed his eyes. Why are you calling? Because I was told to provoke you, Ethan said, breath uneven. The manager said you were one of those CEOs who think rules don't apply. He said if anything happened, the company would protect us. Jordan's jaw tightened. Who told him that? Ethan swallowed. A man in a suit. Came in earlier that week. Said he was connected to Skyline Tech. Said problems disappear if we control the narrative. Jordan's chest burned. Thank you for telling the truth, Jordan said quietly. It matters. The next morning, headlines exploded. Skyline Tech Board under federal review, cafe manager suspended amid racial bias allegations. Whistleblower confirmed coordinated retaliation against CEO. Outside Skyline Tech, protesters gathered, not screaming, but holding signs. Accountability is leadership. Silence is complicity. Inside, Howard Lyles watched the stock ticker plummet. They are calling for resignations, Catherine said flatly. Howard whispered, we underestimated him. No, she replied, you underestimated the truth. By sunset, Skyline Tech released a statement. Howard Lyles and 2 board members had stepped down pending investigation. At Bean and Brew, Paul Whitaker was escorted out by HR, his badge revoked. Ethan's termination was reversed. A public apology followed, carefully worded, legally scrubbed, but too late to undo the damage. Jordan stood alone in his apartment, city lights blinking through the window. Tina called softly, they are falling. Jordan exhaled, and I'm still standing. You changed something, she said. Jordan stared at his reflection in the glass. No, I exposed what was already broken. The storm outside was loud, sirens, chants, headlines, but inside him, something settled. Not peace, not victory, resolve. Justice was never clean, never painless, but it was finally moving, and the reckoning had only begun. The conference room smelled of polished wood and tension. Jordan Matthews sat across from the whistleblower, Ethan Rivera, the barista who had sparked the first domino in a corporate cascade. You said they orchestrated everything, Jordan said quietly, from the cafe incident to my suspension. Ethan nodded, voice low. They didn't want you here. They saw you as different. Your decisions, your skin, your authority. They couldn't tolerate it. Who? Jordan asked. Name names. Ethan hesitated, swallowing hard. Howard Lyles, Greg Sanders, and someone higher up. I don't know the full chain, but instructions came from a guy who said he had influence across departments. Everything was planned. Every microaggression, every complaint, it was engineered. Jordan clenched his fists. So every veiled comment, every cold stare in the boardroom, deliberate, not chance. Exactly, Ethan said. I hated it. Every day I did what they told me. I felt sick, but I was afraid for my job. Jordan exhaled. Faye, that's what keeps systems like this alive. People obey because survival feels safer than justice. Hours later, Jordan and his team began connecting dots. Emails, internal memos, and subtle HR reports showing deliberate bias against him. Every note, every recorded conversation built a pattern. Alicia Grant leaned forward. This isn't just a cafe incident or suspension. This is premeditated corporate sabotage, supported by executives who use your race as a weapon against you. Marcus Reynolds added, the public sees the story unfolding now. The media coverage, whistleblowers, internal leaks, it's a powder keg. When it explodes, the board won't have a leg to stand on. Jordan nodded, voice calm but edged with fire. And yet, the emotional cost, that's mine alone. Betrayal burns deeper when it comes from people who should have had your back. Elaine Rivera looked up from the files. Prepare yourself. When the full story comes out, Lyles, Sanders, and their accomplices will face not just professional consequences, but legal ones. But you'll feel the exhaustion of exposing friends and colleagues alike. That's unavoidable. Jordan's jaw tightened. I don't care. Truth isn't optional. The next day, Skyline Tech convened a press conference. Jordan appeared via video feed, poised, articulate, and commanding. Our internal investigation confirmed systematic attempt to remove me from leadership, he said. Instructions were given to baristas, managers, and executives alike. Threats were made, both publicly and privately. The goal was to humiliate, discredit, and remove me. The room went silent. Social media erupted. The hashtag #JusticeForJordan trended nationwide. Inside the company, the board members scrambled. Lyles refused to speak. Sanders attempted damage control. Catherine Monroe, previously cautious, finally voiced her outrage. You orchestrated lies and intimidation, she said, voice low but sharp. I supported due process, but you used silence to manipulate truth. You will answer for it. Howard Lyles leaned back in his chair, paleness creeping across his face. This was never personal. Yes, it was. Jordan interrupted. Every act of betrayal, every whispered complaint, every smear, it was personal. And you will face the consequences. The fallout was swift. Federal investigators launched a formal review of Skyline Tech's HR and board practices. Public scrutiny intensified. The cafe manager, Paul Whitaker, was terminated, the barista exonerated. Employees who had been complicit faced HR investigations. Jordan sat in his office, watching news coverage of resignations and legal filings. The weight of betrayal still lingered, an ache in his chest that no public vindication could erase. Tina entered softly. It's over. They're all being held accountable. Jordan shook his head. Over? Nothing like this is ever truly over. I won, yes, but the emotional scars, the trust shattered. I can't pretend it didn't cost me. I can't pretend it didn't hurt to see people I thought were allies choose comfort over truth. Marcus placed a hand on his shoulder. That's part of leadership, Jordan. Part of standing for justice. Pain doesn't negate the victory. It proves it mattered. Alicia nodded. And the lesson isn't just for them. It's for everyone watching. Silence empowers the guilty. Courage exposes it. Jordan exhaled slowly, staring at the skyline. The city pulsed with life outside, indifferent yet witnessing. He had fought deception, bias, and betrayal, and won. But the cost was personal, raw, and undeniable. He whispered to himself, almost a vow, I will rebuild, smarter, stronger, and I will never forget what it takes to fight for justice. The phone buzzed. Another alert from social media, news clips, interviews, commentary, headlines praising his resilience. The storm had passed, but the aftershocks, the memory of humiliation, betrayal, and struggle would remain. Jordan leaned back, letting himself feel both the exhaustion and the quiet triumph. The system had faltered. The guilty faced consequences. And yet, the world would keep turning, indifferent, ready to test him again. But for now, in this moment, justice had prevailed. The first meeting in Jordan Matthews' restored office felt almost ceremonial. The glass walls reflected sunlight across polished surfaces. It should have felt victorious, but the weight of everything that had happened lingered in the air. Tina Harris entered first, smiling faintly. Welcome back, Jordan. He nodded, his gaze lingering on the empty chairs that had once held those who betrayed him. Feels different, he admitted. Not because I won, but because I remember what it cost. Alicia Grant followed, carrying a stack of files. The board restructuring is complete. New policies, stricter oversight, protections against microaggressions, changes you've advocated for are in place. You reshaped the company culture. Jordan exhaled. I wanted change. Not just revenge. But it's strange, seeing it realized after all that pain. Marcus Reynolds appeared last, his expression calm. It wasn't just about the company. It was about exposing a system that protects the guilty. You held the line when others folded. Jordan's hand rested on the desk. And yet, I can't forget. The humiliation, the betrayal, the exhaustion, it's all still here. He tapped his chest lightly. I carry it. Tina spoke softly, almost hesitant. That's part of leadership, Jordan. Every decision, every fight leaves a mark. But you also left an impression, a precedent. People will remember this. He looked toward the city skyline beyond the windows. The same city where his café humiliation had gone viral, where corporate betrayal had unfolded, where justice had finally emerged. The memory of each moment was sharp, a reminder of how fragile dignity could be when systems conspire against you. A notification pinged on his phone. He glanced at it. News outlets were praising the Whistleblowers, the legal team, and even the Barista, who had bravely exposed a chain of manipulation. Public sentiment had shifted. Support poured in, not just for him, but for the principles he had fought to defend. Jordan turned to Alicia. Do you think things will really change? Alicia smiled faintly, eyes steady. They will. Slowly. People saw how silence enables injustice. Systems bend when courage refuses to yield. You've lit a fire others can follow. Marcus nodded. You've proven something more than legal victory. You've shown the cost and the necessity of standing for truth. Jordan exhaled, a mix of relief and sorrow. It's just painful. Even victory doesn't erase the sting. Every ally who faltered, every quiet observer, their choices left marks. I'll always feel them. That's human, Marcus said. But your resilience is what defines you now, not their betrayal. The office phone rang. Jordan picked up. It was Ethan, the barista. I just wanted to thank you, Ethan said, voice steady, for standing up, for proving that truth matters, that justice can happen. Jordan paused. It's not over, Ethan. Not everywhere. But today, it matters. Outside, the city moved on, unaware, indifferent. But inside Jordan's office, a quiet revolution had occurred. He had endured public humiliation, systemic betrayal, and personal cost. Yet, he had emerged with dignity, justice, and the tools to prevent future abuses. He leaned back in his chair, letting the sunlight wash over him. The emotional scars remained, sharp reminders of the cost, but also of the strength it took to resist. Victory was never clean. Justice was never painless. And courage required sacrifice. Tina spoke softly, almost reverentially. You've done what most would not. Jordan looked at her, eyes weary but steady. And now, we rebuild. Smarter, stronger, fairer, for me, and for everyone who didn't have the chance to fight back. Alicia added, and your story will guide others. Not revenge, but resilience. Not hatred, but accountability. Jordan nodded. Yes, that's the truth I'll carry forward. As the evening settled over the city, the sun dipped below the horizon. Skyline Tech had survived, transformed by adversity. Jordan Matthews had survived, transformed by betrayal and triumph. The scars, the memories, and the victories were woven together, an intricate tapestry of justice, resilience, and reflection. He whispered quietly to himself, almost a vow, I will never forget, I will never yield, and I will always fight for what is right. Outside, the world continued its relentless pace, indifferent to the struggles of one man, but Jordan had changed it, in ways both visible and invisible, for justice had been served, and though the cost was steep, the truth endured.